Hey team, sorry about this. It's a little bit close, but welcome back to my channel. My name is Abigail Grace, or Abby, and I this week am filming one of my favorite videos to film on this channel, which is rereading my favorite books, rereading 5-star reads. I am changing the title a little bit in this video because one of the books I'm planning to read, I did not give 5 stars the first time around. I gave it 4 stars, but I'm really feeling like rereading it because it's being turned into a movie that's filming right now. It's by one of my favorite authors. I feel like I want to give it another chance. Even if it's not 5 stars, it was still a good book, and I want to reread it before the movie comes out. So I'm not reading that right now. You can probably guess what it is, but I'll leave you in a little bit of suspense until I pick that one up. I've got 4 books picked out for this video, and last night I did start Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. I read the arc of this over the summer. So the actual book got published a few months ago. I'm not sure the exact date, but I'm sure I can find it in here. Not that it matters, it's out now. But I did read both of her books. Yeah, July. It came out in July. I did read both of her books this year, so Forget Me Not and this one. And I loved both of them. This one was definitely 5 stars, and I have been thinking about it so much recently, and I couldn't get it out of my mind enough that I was like waiting for this video so that I could pick this up. So I am in fact 115 pages in. I'm on a chapter that's in Alex's POV, so almost chapter 9, but Alex's POVs are like told in these like cello suite number 1, cello suite number 2, because he's a cellist. And it's so good. I love Gwen and Alex, and I know nothing about symphonies, orchestras. I was in band in middle school, and 1 year of high school I played the flute, and it was definitely not like an orchestra. We didn't have string instruments. It was literally like your typical middle school band, and that's my extent of symphony orchestra knowledge. But when I read it the first time, I got super intrigued and interested in this whole world that's very, for people that are in that world, it's a big deal. So with that being said, this is the first book I'm rereading for this video, and as I said, I'm already 115 pages in. I can look on Goodreads and see what percentage that puts me at. 29%. So I made a good dent in it last night, and I'm so excited to read it again. So excited. That's really all the updates that I have. I'm going to, maybe I'll finish this today. I don't know. Tonight's Dancing with the Stars, so it means I won't be reading as much in the evening as I normally do because I will be tuned into the television. But that's all for now. Let's get into it. Do you like my shirt? Whitehorn Tattoo Studio. Love Rowan. This is Throne of Glass if you haven't read it, but I finished Not Another Love Song last night. Still 5 stars, still holds up. Like, I think my favorite line is literally, well, there's lots of very good lines, but one of my favorites is the last line of the whole book, which is, it's about a cello who fell in love with a violin. So the last chapter is told from Alex's POV, and it's like a year later, and they're getting interviewed by the same like person that had interviewed them previously, someone from the Times. And I'm not gonna like, I feel like I can't give you too many details about what ends up happening to them, but he's basically like, what inspired your like hit song? And obviously he plays the cello, Gwen plays the violin, and he says, it's simple. It's about a cello who fell in love with a violin. I will say this book is like spicy on the spice scale. I give it a 3 out of 5. And I love Gwen and Alex. Like, they're so cute together. It's also kind of like pop star, famous person that you've always had a crush on, and like normal person. Like, there's definitely elements of that in this, kind of like Funny You Should Ask, where he's like very famous and she's like not, and it's just giving us hope for those of us with those fangirls with a large crush. She's definitely a fangirl, and Alex is just like so hot in my mind. So this was really good. Still 5 stars, still holds up. And we're moving on to our next book. So out of the 4 books I've selected, 2 are adult and 2 are YA. So I'm gonna go like adult YA, adult YA. So next we're reading Begin Again by Emma Lord. This is set in college, and our main character like transfers to be with her boyfriend, but her boyfriend transferred to be with her away, so they both end up transferring and switching, and she's also dealing with grief, and it's just a really good coming of age. I sobbed when I read it the first time, so if that says anything about how I felt at the end, there is a love story, and that is what I'm gonna say about that. I'm gonna read this last line here. It's of the synopsis. Filled with a friend group that feels like family, Andy's empowering journey to find her own way, and a just kiss already romance. True. Begin Again is an unforgettable novel of love and starting again, which is just beautiful. So I'm gonna read this. I'm so excited. And I'm babysitting tonight, like I always do on Wednesdays. So I will definitely get some good reading done once they're asleep. So I'm gonna read a little bit now before I go over there and before I have to make dinner in like 10 minutes. But for now, I'm gonna sit here and read. All right, team, we are back. I am in my pajamas, but that's because it's a Saturday morning and I don't feel like getting ready yet because I'm babysitting all afternoon / evening. I'm going over there at 3:30. So I'm just letting myself have a chill morning. But with that being said, I finished Begin Again last night, and I just spent about 20 minutes doing the annotations that I marked. I wasn't reading with a like highlighter or a pen or anything, so I know, sacrilegious, but I dog-eared pages, and then I went back and highlighted them and added some tabs, which is I would say about half the times when I put some annotations in a book, that's how I do it. Is in the moment, I often don't feel like getting up and going to get my annotation supplies if I'm like in the heat of reading like a good part of a book. So I'll just dog ear the page, and then once I finish, I'll come back and I'll reread the page to find what I thought was worth highlighting. I'll highlight it, I'll put a little tab, and then I will get rid of the dog ear. And it's fine, it does not ruin the books. I have about 6 little pages that I just wanted to highlight stuff on. Once again, this book is 5 stars. This is like such a perfect coming of age book. If you are newly like in college or like going into college, I definitely recommend. If you're like even recently graduated and like starting post-grad, that's when I read this book for the first time, was like the year after I graduated. And honestly, has such good like things to say about starting over, like finding yourself. Like sometimes the plans you thought you had for yourself don't work out, and that's okay. And sometimes that's better. Sometimes you can find something better for yourself in that way. And there's also a strong like people pleaser main character in this, and she struggles, but there's also a really, really lovely romance. I love Milo, and they kind of, Milo and Andy are the 2 main characters. They help each other figure out like a new season of life together. In this case, it's college, but I think the lessons can be plopped into any time of your life when you're like entering a new season. But with that being said, it is YA, so like it's great for people going into college. I still think it's applicable for others, but especially that, I think. Anyway, it's very, very good. I think it's my favorite. I don't want to say, it's not, I think it is my favorite Emma Lord book. I've read all of her books. I'm sitting and looking at them right now, and they're all very good. I would say that's like a common, she just published actually her first adult romance, but all of her YA are very much like, there's a deeper meaning or an issue or like something to get to the heart of that can be applicable, I think, for all ages in her YA books. So even if you're not YA like myself, I still think they can be really great books. So with that being said, we're putting Begin Again back on the shelf. We've completed it. It's 5 stars. With that being said, let me pick up my next book that I'm reading. People We Meet on Vacation, or You and Me on Vacation. This is the UK cover and edition. I don't have a US edition actually, so we will be reading this. It's exactly the same. It does have a different title though. The UK one is You and Me on Vacation, and the US one is People We Meet on Vacation. So there's that, but I actually really like this cover. I think it's really cute. So this is the book I was talking about at the beginning that's being made into a movie. I'm very excited to read it. I'll probably get quite a bit done tonight while I'm babysitting, because the kids will go to bed at like 7:30 and I'm there until 11. So I have several hours where I'm just hanging out while the kids are asleep. So I'll be bringing this with me to read. I'm very excited to get back into this. I've reread most of Emily Henry's other books. I've reread Beach Read twice and Book Lovers as well. So it was time to reread this one, especially because it's being made into a movie. So those are my little updates for this video. Hopefully I'll actually finish that today so I can start Heartless Hunter, which is book 4 for this video, tomorrow, so I can finish it this week. because I've been my videos have been taking longer than a week to film. I had a really busy week at work, so I haven't read as much as I normally do, but that's okay. It's still gonna be good. I actually need to probably look at my calendar and see what if I'm doing a reading vlog next week. No, so I have some time because next week is just a mood read week for me. So that's all. I'll catch you when I'm reading You and Me on Vacation. So I'm rereading People Meet on Vacation / You and Me on Vacation. This is the UK edition, but I forgot how much I read this 3 years ago. Now in 2021 for the first time, and I have not read it since 2021. And I gave it 4 stars back then, but because of the movie and all the stuff that I've been seeing with Emily, hanging out with the actors, I'm like so excited for it, so I decided to reread it. And honestly, it's eating. Like, I don't really remember why I gave it 4 stars and not 5. I don't really remember a lot of the details of the book. I remember the general premise, but I'm so excited getting back into it. It's eating already. Like, love. Finished my annotations and my second read through of You and Me on Vacation or People Meet on Vacation. You and Me is the UK edition, and I thought they were exactly the same. I was incorrect. I had this memory that I wasn't sure if it was correct or not about Alex getting a vasectomy after Poppy had her pregnancy scare. I'm sorry if this is spoilers. I don't know that it's necessarily a spoiler. This book has been out for years, but he gets a vasectomy because she has a pregnancy scare and he never wants to put anyone in that position again. And I remember that being like a really important moment for them, but then it did not happen in this book. And I was like, did I make that up? Was that in a different book? My roommate has the US edition and she let me look through it to see about the vasectomy thing, because I also Googled it, and of course Google told me I was correct, that Alex gets a vasectomy. So I did find it in the US edition, and I found like the part where it is in the other book and where it's not in this book, and I did mark it just so I would remember if and when I reread this about that part. But it also makes me realize that I do need to get the US version of this book. I think my sister has it. I let her borrow it like years ago, but I never thought that I really needed it because I was like, oh, I have another copy, it's okay. But if they're different, maybe I want the other one. I don't know. It makes me wonder, like, I know that Beach Read has a little bit of a different ending in the UK versus the US editions, like when the letters from her dad are a little different. So I need to maybe see if that's true of book lovers as well, because I think I've read both the UK and the US edition of Book Lovers, but I don't remember anything particular that was different. And I don't know why they changed that in this book, but they did. Needless to say, this was really good, and I don't particularly know why I didn't give it 5 stars the first time around. Like, I feel as though I was directly comparing it to Beach Read, which is unfair to do, and that's what I had to do with Funny Story when I read that this year, is like, I cannot directly compare any of her books to any of her other books, because there are going to be ones that are like stick out so vividly in my mind, and they're 5 stars. But that doesn't mean that just because another book doesn't have that same moment, that it's not also 5 stars. And I have to remind myself of that. Like, when I think of a book, I need to think of it only as by itself, as, is this 5 stars or not? And I don't need to think in comparison with this book I read or this book I read, even if I'm comparing this to a book by a different author. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to think about this book in its entirety, in this moment, how I feel about it, and not compare it to other books, because different genres, different authors, different types of stories, like, you cannot compare them and expect them to fit on the exact same scale. That's why writing books is so subjective. Like, I have a totally different reading experience than someone else, and the way I rate a fantasy versus a romance versus a mystery is also completely different. And I need to also not take it as seriously as I sometimes do. Like, sometimes I'm like, I debate and have this internal struggle, and I'm like, it's not that serious. Did I really like the book? Yes. Will I be thinking about this? Yes. Therefore, 5 stars. Like, did I like it? And I would maybe reread it? Sure. 4 stars. Was it okay? 3 stars. Was it bad? 2 stars. Like, those are the kinds of things I need to be thinking about. So, I have finished this book, and I am upping my rating from 4 to 5 stars. And those are my thoughts. I am going to write a little note in my review about the vasectomy being gone in this version, just because I thought that was interesting. So I am done with You and Me on Vacation, and the next book I'm going to start is Heartless Hunter. I'm not going to start it tonight. It's almost 10 p.m. I am going to go to bed soon because it's a Sunday night. I want to have a good start to the week, but I flew through Heartless Hunter last time I read it. It's YA. It's not super long. I'm hopeful that I can like really get through it and finish it, although I have book club tomorrow night, so who knows what will happen on that front. For now, I finished this, and those are my concluding thoughts. Hello. So this is a 50% through. Oh damn, I just lost my spot. Here we go. There I am. This is a 50% through Heartless Hunter update. I'm on page 206, chapter 30, and this book is like the tension and like the layers of deception that have to happen in this are crazy. Gideon is pretending to court Rune so he can figure out if she's the Crimson Moth. She's pretending to court Gideon to find out information about where he's keeping witches. They both suspect the other. Like, she knows that he's trying to find out information about her and find out if she's a witch, and he feels like she's trying to find out information for him during their courtship, but they're both pretending they don't know that, and it's just like crazy. But I love that. There's so much like back and forth, like so much they don't know, and it's amazing. love that. Because I've read this before, I like know things, obviously, so it's hard for me to like talk about stuff, but her, I will say there's a love triangle in this, like love triangle in a sense of like, at this point in the book, I wouldn't say she's really in love with either of these men, but one is her like longtime friend. It's giving Gale from the Hunger Games. Like, one is her longtime friend and is clearly in love with her, and she like has never recognized that and like has always been like in the friend zone with him, but he's clearly in love with her. And then the other is his brother, which is Gideon. And I won't say that they're in love yet, but it's clear there's attraction there between them. And Gideon is also aware of the fact that his brother is in love with Rune. So he's like, knows he's like basically ruining / forever altering his relationship with his brother because of this like deception that he's in of courting Rune, when to start he wasn't even interested in her, although now we see some feelings start to develop, but like to start he's not interested in her, and he's always like stayed away from her because he knows his brother loves her, and in doing this he is drastically changing his relationship with his brother. There's tension there that was never there before. Anyway, it's very good. And I'm, of course, loving it, flying through it. Tonight, I think I'm going on a first date, and it's also Dancing with the Stars tonight, so I won't be reading a ton tonight, which is fine and great. I really, like, I don't mind a first date. I just, like, really, he, like, suggested dinner, and I just, like, don't love a first date to be super long. I want it to be, like, an hour, 2 hours max. Like, it's not long. And I also still want to watch Dancing with the Stars. So I'm hoping that, like, if we meet up at, like, 6, I can catch at least still the end of Dancing with the Stars, like, at least the last hour, hopefully hour and a half. If the date goes from, like, 6 to 7:15, I can watch from 7:30 to 9, only miss the first 30 minutes, so I can still, like, vote and stuff. That has nothing to do with this. I'm just, like, spewing my thoughts about the situation. And I won't be able to read that much tonight. I probably will still read. I don't know that I'll finish this today, but that's okay. I'm working from home today, so at some point I'm gonna have to get ready for this date, because if I was working in the office, I would at least already be like hair and makeup done, but obviously that's not the case. So I'm gonna have to do that, and also pick out an outfit. But that's my update for Heartless Hunter. It's very good so far. And I knew it was going to be good. It's a 5-star book. Like, I know it's going to be good. I can't wait for book 2 to come out. I believe it comes out in January. Let's see though. Book 2, Rebel Witch, comes out February 18th, which I'm so excited. The little tagline is "Love has never been so deadly." Oh, it's a duology. So it's also the second and final book in the series. I, in my mind, thought it was a trilogy, but honestly, this is amazing. Like, to just have a duology, like, and not have to wait then another year for book 3 to come out. This is everything I could have wanted and more. So, anyway, that's my little update. just finished Heartless Hunter. I have a little mascara under my eyes, but that's okay. I'm wearing my cat Halloween jammies because tomorrow's Halloween. This book is still 5 stars in my eyes. It's YA, but they do have sex like on the page, and it's like cracked door. I don't want to say it's not closed door, and I don't really want to say like open because it doesn't give a ton of details, but it is definitely like somewhere in that middle range. But I also believe it is YA. The like betrayal and the way this book ends is crazy. Like there's several big developments that happen in the last like few chapters, which is just like what a way to end the book. And the way that the next book is going to be like enemies to lovers to enemies is just crazy. I can't wait. Cannot wait for that. The tension, the pining, like the feelings they have but no they shouldn't have. It's gonna be amazing. There's also like there's some shocking reveals and just some shocking like developments that I can't really talk about because that would be spoiling the book, but I definitely recommend. Her Deadliest Enemy or Her Greatest Love, can't compete with that. Enemies to Lovers doesn't get more high stakes than a witch and a witch hunter falling in love. Hello, that's amazing. So can't wait. Also, as we discovered live on camera last night, I think it's a duology. So next book is the last book. So read this now before book 2 comes out in February. And then there you go. You won't have to wait a long time for another book to come out. So that is the final book for this video that I'm going to reread. I went to a Clara Gilmore event tonight because her new book, Perfect Fit, came out yesterday. Yesterday was pub day, and so she had an event here in Nashville tonight where she like answered some questions, did a signing, and I have actually read the arc of Perfect Fit, so I had already read it, but after hearing her like talk about it tonight, it made me want to reread it. I'm not going to include it in this video, but I might be rereading that soon too because it was really good, and now that it's being released to the world and people are talking about it, I'm realizing I want to reread it. I want to get in on that action. So that might be coming soon, but not in this video. You'll have to stay tuned. Tomorrow is the last day of the month, so I'm going to be filming my wrap up tomorrow for October. And I read a lot of books this month, and not all of them were in a reading vlog, so you should definitely check out that video. It's probably out before this, so I will link it, and you should watch that to hear me talk about all the other books that I read this month. And also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. They're both linked down below. One, because I talk about books on there, and also because you can just follow along on my like more everyday life. I don't do a ton of just like daily vlogging on here. It's mostly book videos. But I do keep you updated on TikTok on all the other things that are going on in my life. There's some fashion stuff. There's definitely book stuff on there. Dating updates, all the things happen over there. So follow me on there, and I'll see you guys somewhere else on the internet. Love you.